This story is not about a ghost or anything, but a little spoopy thing that happened to me as a kid. I got other stories. Shit like this happened a lot at the old place I lived at. Be me, 15. Live in an isolated house out in the middle of the woods. Me and friends explore the woods all the time. Know them pretty well. One night, hear a weird loud crack sound coming from the woods. Think maybe it's a tree collapsing. But it was weird. It was just one loud crack, like a gunshot. But not quite. Whatever, write it off. Next day, go in the woods. Suddenly, in an area where we've been plenty of times before, there's this huge barrel. I say barrel, but it was like the size of a small house. Rusted, dented, it had a hole in the side of it where we could climb in. Nothing particularly interesting inside. How the fuck did it get here? It was miles from any road. No markings and vegetation surrounding it to indicate that it had been drugged there or anything. Slightly spooky by it at first. Eventually, spookiness wears off. We use it as a landmark. We have parties inside of it, drinking, smoking. It gets filled up with empties and cigarette butts. Graffiti the side of it, including Anon Heart's Anon's first crush. One night, about 2 years later, again, a loud crack sound. Go out to the barrel the next day. It's gone, along with everything inside of it. Just a big patch of bare dirt, where it had been. Again, nothing to show that it had been dragged away. Kinda sad because the barrel became a pretty cool hangout over the past couple years. But oh well. Here's to you, barrel bro, wherever you are. Someone says, I'd like to hear your other stories, please. There's so many. This is the place where I grew up, and it wasn't until I moved away that I understood just how much weird shit happened to me when I was there. When I moved away and began experiencing normal life, that's when I began to understand just how odd this place was. Not all necessarily paranormal either. Here's a small non-paranormal story. In the middle of all this lush pine forest, there was this odd area that was entirely sand dunes. This isn't the only weird thing I saw happen there either. Great place for sledding when it snowed. Dad worked as an electrical engineer for a company that had a manufacturing site way out in the woods for some reason. Takes us to go sledding at the sand dunes. We get there, having a ball, sledding all over the place. Come across a pond that has never been there before. The pond isn't frozen over, and it is crystal fucking clear. No plant or animal growth, or mud or anything. Except for one thing. The water is slightly blue. Dad sees this, and gets angry as hell. Tells us to get in the car. We go home. He makes a phone call to work to scream at someone. Tells us not to go to the sand dunes until he tells us we can. Next time we go, the pond is gone. Another time, I was hiding in the woods at the edge of the sand dunes while watching black helicopters land there. Note, there was no nearby military base, or really anything nearby. Or if you want something a little more weird, be about 12 years old. It's pouring rain outside. It's nighttime. I had just gone out to get our dog out of his pen to bring him inside out of the rain. Because he was still a bit of a puppy and a spaz, he broke out to run into the woods. Grab a flashlight, go into the woods looking for him. Pretty deep in, I can hear him crashing around the brush. Suddenly, to my left, I hear some grunting noises. Almost like a pig, but more guttural. I freeze. Take a step towards the noise. Hear a loud thump as something flops through the brush. I'm kind of spooked, but I always felt safe when my dog was nearby. I figured if it was something really bad, he would have seen it, and started barking at it when he tore through the woods. Plus, I can still hear him crashing around the woods pretty close by, so I'm not too worried. Shine my light through the brush, push some branches aside. Holy shit. It's the biggest fucking toad I have ever seen. When I say big, I don't just mean like a normally big toad. I mean that this thing was easily bigger than a raccoon. Realized the grunting sound I heard earlier was its croak. Something's off about it. It's not just a supersized toad. It doesn't look quite like the other toads I had occasionally caught. Eyes are set much further back in its head than normal, almost near its stomach. Of course, I immediately went to try to catch it. Reach my hand out for it. Opens its mouth to at me. Realize what else is different about it. I know a lot of toads have small nubs of teeth. This one has an entire mouthful of thin, needle-like teeth. Fall backwards in shock. Toad hops away, crashing through brush. Gather my dog. Tell family about the huge fucking toad I saw. They just think I may have seen a really big normal toad. Ever since then, our house was plagued with toads every summer. Literally dozens of them hopping around the yard at any given time. There was lots of things that don't necessarily make for a good story. For example, one day me and my friends, all of us, experienced not a few minutes, not an hour or so of deja vu, but an entire day that we all swore up and down had happened before. There was other weird stuff too. Electronic appliances would turn themselves on pretty often, and one microwave we had curiously remained on even after unplugged. This was after our microwave wouldn't turn off even after unplugged. My mom was convinced our house was possessed or haunted. Dad just laughed and bought a new microwave. Mom insisted that an old abandoned house, passed by it on our way to school every morning, was a center of cold activity and was causing all of this. She said that she had seen lights in the windows at night. So, of course, me and my friends, 16 at the time, wanted to check it out at night because spook. Go with two guys, Isaac and Richard. House is normal as we approach, a bit trashed, garbage on the lawn, old wrappers and empties and shit. Figure someone must have been squatting. Front door is unlocked. We just stroll inside. As soon as we enter the house, a feeling hits us, all of us, at the same time. Something's fucked up here. I can't explain it. Just went from sudden feeling of complete lack of worry to intense, overwhelming feeling of dread. Inside of the house is weird. Large sheets of ripped blue plastic on the ground. They look like they had been containers for something, like something big, sealed in plastic that you had to rip apart to get at. Picked one up to look for a label. There was no label, just a barcode and a serial number. Okay. Flip light switch. Electricity is on for some reason. Head into kitchen. It's devoid of anything. No cabinets, no nothing, no fridge, no sink, everything's been cleared out. Sawdust and metal shavings all over the ground. Shrug. Meanwhile, Isaac's getting jittery. Alright man, we checked it out. Let's get the fuck out of here. Me and David tease him about being a pussy. Head upstairs. Lights up there aren't working, so we bust out flashlights. All pretty much normal up there. Empty rooms, some abandoned furniture. All except for one room. One room that is lined with mirrors. Floor-length mirrors lining every single wall. There's even mirrors on the ceiling. Okay. Maybe whoever moved out just hadn't bothered taking them. Richard is behind me, looking down the stairs. Suddenly gets deathly white. Pushes me and Isaac into the mirror room. Before we can say anything, he whispers, "Shut the fuck up. Someone just turned off the light downstairs." Oh fuck. We all strain our ears listening. Richard is standing by the door, ready to jump whoever decides to walk in. We can't hear shit. About 20 minutes pass like this. About to suggest venturing downstairs. Suddenly, the whole house shakes. Every light comes blazing on, even the ones upstairs, which hadn't been working. Isaac just barely stops himself from shouting out. I look out the window of the mirror room. There's no car parked in the front yard. Whoever came into the house, they'd have to try to chase us on foot. The house shakes again. One of the light bulbs on the room pops. Glass falls down on me. It's burning fucking hot. Fuck it, time to run. All three of us stampede down the stairs. The basement door is open. It sounds like something's running down there, like a washing machine crossed with a lawnmower, gone wild. As we dash past the door, we hear someone yell out, "Is someone there?" from the basement. Run into the woods. When we're about halfway back home, calm down a bit. Decide to stick together and drop Isaac off at his house first. Then me, then Richard, since his house was the closest walk from mine. Call him to make sure he gets home fine. He does. Next day, the abandoned house is burned the fuck down. Ask parents about it. Dad says fire department just used it for practice. Return to empty lot a few days later. The basement had been filled with cement. Creepy cryptid encounters thread. It doesn't have to be Innawoods, but my story is. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. This is a fairly long story. Live in Wyoming. Won't give out any more location info. Take over Dad's old cabin, refurnish it, and go into woods regularly. My whole family used to go camping together all the time, but we stopped as we got older/busy. Not me. I always would go out to clear my head, or just for some fun. Been saving up a lot of vacation time and money, just to have a few extra days off. Ask around. All of my friends and girlfriend are busy. Disappointed, but fuck it, we can do another one some other time. Back up my stuff and bring my German Shepherd, Baxter. It was around fall, so it was really beautiful out. Baxter's happy, I am happy. Life is good. Get to my cabin. Haven't been for a few weeks, so I have to restock everything. But it's actually in pretty good shape. It should be. I spent a small fortune fixing it up. Spend the rest of the days setting up. By dark, I'm cooking dinner and watching TV. The X-Files, the Fluke Man episode. Went to get the Halloween/fall feel before going to bed. The next day, Baxter and I are out walking the trails. Recently, I had begun to walk over them and explore on my own. Dad always warned me not to stray too far, but that was when I was like 12. I'm a big boy now. We walk on, and nothing is out of the ordinary. Birds chirping, sun shining. We walk for a bit, and Baxter starts getting anxious, which is weird. He's usually fine in the woods. Another 5 minutes, and I find this old stone building that I've never seen before. Like really old. Could be early 1900s era. Some of it's still standing, but I can't figure out what it was. Either an old stone house or some type of mill. It was all overgrown and the back was collapsed. I decided the absolute smartest thing to do would be to check it out. Inside smells like really strong cat piss. Also has some leaves and shit inside. Obvious signs of life are obvious. I'm smart enough to not know to fuck around in someone's living room. Me and Baxter get the hell up out of there. Unsling my M1. You can never be too safe. I keep telling myself I'm just spooking myself. Every little crunch or snap off in the woods has me on high alert. Get back to the main trail when I hear a big as fuck snap, like someone snapping a limb off of a tree. Only something very large could do that. I crouch and ready the rifle. Baxter gets down with me. We sit for a few minutes, figure we can wait it out. Completely expecting a bear to come charging. But it's nothing. We get up and walk on. About 50 or so yards before the cabin, I hear it again. This time I don't crouch, but instead I pull the ultimate dumb blonde in a horror movie. Is anybody out there? I'm armed, so don't be fucking around. In my defense, I didn't want to shoot some kids or a drunk hillbilly. But yeah, that was some Scooby-Doo tier shit, I know. But it's nothing. I double time it back to the cabin. Baxter is inside, sleeping, but I'm on the porch eating and watching. Nothing happens for the night, and for the next day. Laugh at myself, more than likely it was just a bear. Go shooting and hiking and fishing, and enjoy myself. Come back from walking Baxter, and see a blood smear on the side of my cabin. Somebody tossed a goddamn squirrel at my house. It looked like it had been manhandled before breaking its spine off of my shutters. Assume there's some axe murderer stalking me. Stop going out on hikes and never leave my cabin. I don't want to run either. This place is mine, and I'm not leaving early. Next day it rains, so I stay inside and watch TV or read books. Realize I'm an idiot, as I only brought scary horror movies and books, and murder mysteries to creep myself out. Walk by the windows. Always feel like I'm being watched, but that's probably just nerves. Have a gun in every room. Next day, the rain clears. I get outside because I forgot some folding lawn chairs, but whatever, they'll dry. All broken, every single one of them. They were only like 15 to 20 yards away from the house. For future reference, this is when the shit starts hitting the fan. I'm definitely being stalked. I've been hunting enough before to know that. And whatever it is, gave its last fuck a while ago. And I was late for the show, which is bad. But I've got my cabin, plus my Jeep, plus a surplus of firearms, which is good. If I had to know how crazy it was going to get, I honestly wouldn't have stayed. We've had bears and shit before, and usually if you stand your ground and shoot at them, they leave you alone. Sitting inside, reading Stephen King's It, because fuck it at this point, when I hear another thud, this one just to the right of my front door. I don't want to open the door. I really don't want to open the door. Open the curtains. See a bloody possum, still alive, somewhat, twitching. Go upstairs to my granddad's war chest and pull out Samuel Goliath, which is his M14 that he smuggled back. Load that sucker up, my .44 Ruger on my hip. I already said every room was armed, but that was just like a 9mm per room. Pack up everything else in the back of my Jeep. I was still thinking it was some maniac killer, and I didn't want to have guns everywhere if he got inside. Have all of my guns and supplies in bags in the living room, in case I need to bug out. Next morning, the possum is still there, but now it's dead. Toss it back into the woods, and yell something to the likes of, "Why don't you come out now in the daylight, you fucking pansy?" Of course, nothing. Since I'm feeling brave, I walk the tree line. Whatever was out here broke some more of my shit. Lampposts that haven't worked in years, another chair, and my fire pit. Fear is slowly being replaced with rage. Get Baxter, decide to test my balls in the water. Walk a little while into the trees. I'm a dumbass, I know. I'm officially the fat guy in the slasher movie that hears a scream and says, "I'll go check it out by myself in the dark." We walk for a bit. The further we go, the slower Baxter gets, and the more he whines. Don't need Caesar Milan to tell me he's scared of being in someone's territory. In the distance, make out a familiar shape. The stone building from before. We've gone too far this time, Scoob, old buddy, old pal. See a tall gray chimney in the back that I didn't notice before. That chimney just moved. And that's obviously no chimney. And it's not Yogi Bear. Can't make out what it is, but it's pretty tall and slender and gray. Raise M14. Yell, "Hey!" It sways slightly, then does this awkward leap and dash to the side, into the bushes. Get possessed by Tom Cruise from Born on the 4th of July. Fire off rounds like a madman. Think I hit it. I definitely heard a groan or a screech. I know I'm ripping off that Goatman story where he says it sounds like a cat talking, but that's the best way I can describe it. I don't know if I hit it. It could have been a battle cry for all I know. Fast walk back to the cabin. I don't want to run, especially if I'm being hunted. Make it home in one piece. Pack everything. I'm leaving tomorrow. I would tonight, but I'm not driving around in the dark. Not even the ammo is worth this shit. At the very least, I'm coming back with friends. I have everything, repacking to keep myself busy, when I hear Baxter growl. Not deep, angry growl, like when the mailman comes to your house. But instead, it's deep, back of his throat type of growl. Take out my .44 and walk slowly to the kitchen. Nothing. There's no monster, but Baxter is low and snarling to the window over the sink. There's condensation on it, but in one spot, like something was breathing on it. And just to make sure my therapy lessons are worthwhile, there's a handprint on the glass. I stare at it for a few seconds. Almost start laughing at how ridiculous this is. The print was too long to be human. Take a pen and put it at the point where your finger meets your hand, and see how long it is. It's like that long. The rifle's over my shoulder, revolver on my hip. I walk from room to room, double and triple checking to make sure that I have everything. Have never seen this place this empty since I inherited it. I'm really just keeping busy. If I sit for too long, I'll go stir crazy. And I had since given up on ever sleeping again. I had Baxter on a leash to keep him close, but soon took it off. The poor guy wouldn't even leave my side. And then I hear a thud. Again. And then another. And another. Check the front. There's a dead raccoon, disemboweled. Check the back. There's a rock. He ran out of animals. Check the front. Deer leg. He found another animal. Then I remembered that we had these searchlights that I had forgot about, that you could turn on from the den. We used to play volleyball well into the night when we were little, so Dad put them in. I juggled with the idea. I didn't know if it would scare him off or piss him off. Plus, I didn't really want to get a good look at whatever it was. That's when I heard another thump. But this was different. It was going in a horizontal pattern alongside the outside of the walls. It was smacking the sides of my house. My legs were shaking, and I'm surprised, or proud, that I didn't piss myself. Granddad used to tell me stories of Vietnam, how you know the enemies are there, but you grip your rifle to the point that your knuckles hurt, and you wait. But how the waiting was the worst part of all. Fuck it, I turn on the floodlights and walk to each window. And that's when I finally saw this ugly bastard. I'm not green texting anymore because I'll run out of room, and I want end to this justice. So I'm going from room to room, and I'm not seeing anything. I'm getting more and more relieved, thinking I scared it off. I went to the window right under where the lights were, and I saw it. Well, actually I saw the dead deer first, next to the tree line. All bloody and torn up to hell. But then I see this thing. Now, I've read through a lot of creepypastas and X-threads, watched a lot of those hunting Bigfoot and hunting Goatmen shows, and they all have a lot of similarities. 7 to 8 feet tall, red eyes, smelled blood in the air, face like a gorilla, and built like a brick shithouse. And I can get why people who study them think of them as some missing link to evolution, because yeah, they do look like some long-lost gorilla relative. But whatever the hell this thing was, did not. It was tall, not really tall, but I'd say around 6'3", and slender, with long arms. Those long fingers that will molest my dreams for years to come. But its face wasn't like an ape, it was more like a baboon, long and droopy. When I googled pic related, it gave me chills to see it again. It wasn't colorful, but like a blackish reddish color that matched its fur, which was surprisingly sleek. His eyes were yellow, probably the only relatable thing to other cryptids, and the light surprised it, like when you turn on a light and wake someone up. It then glanced at me, and we had a Clint Eastwood stare down before it snarled back its lips, showing the yellow baboon-like fangs. It screeched like a bat, and did that same side-to-side leap back into the woods. I closed the curtain, checked the locks, and curled up with my rifle until morning. When it came, I made one trip with all of my things and drove like a madman back to town. And that's pretty much it. My friends and I did go back a month later. Some of the shutters were broken off, and there were some scratches, but aside from that, it was fine. I've been camping since then, but only with large groups, no tents, and not that deep into the woods. I told my friends and family everything. They all more or less believed me. I'm not the only one with a weird hunting story, though I'm sure mine is worthy of some sort of prize. I told my girlfriend's dad, who's an avid hunter, and he just shrugged and matter-of-factly said, "Yeah, shit happens if you go out deep enough." And then in the most deadpan serious tone, "Those woods aren't ours. Not all of them, at least." I've been looking into cryptozoology and into those Goatman threads, and I have yet to read about anything like what I saw. I don't know if I found some inbred Bigfoot, or found some kind of new thing that nobody knows about. I've been meaning to ask around to a lot of the local Native Americans. They, of all people, would probably have a legend of it. It still bothers me how we spent so much time out there as children and never saw anything quite like that. Like it could have been watching us the whole time. I asked my dad, and he's just said the same thing as my girlfriend's dad. I still have yet to sell the cabin. "7 years old, out of friends. Stay up super late for 7-year-olds. Watching horror movies like grown-ups. We start, as kids do, telling ghost stories. Run out of ones that we've heard of, so we start making some up. Tell him one about a man who stalks the woods around where we live. 2 of us live only a few kilometers apart. He doesn't age and can pass through shadows. Been around since Indian times. Feeds on lone hikers now, used to slaughter small native tribes. We decide, even though we know we made it up, to go looking for monsters in the woods. Bring his German Shepherd with us. Being 7 and not entirely retarded, get about 2 kilometers from his actual backyard. We're starting to get really into the woods. Dog starts whining, turns back. Kinda weird, that dog's fearless. Keep going for a bit. Flashlights start flickering. Loud crashing sounds. Slightly poop pants. Dog flies out of nearby brush. Thank fuck, it's just a dog. Just stands in front of us. Getting in our own way every time we try and go by. Starts alternately whining at us and growling at something ahead. We try and keep walking, don't want to turn back yet. Dude, your dog is weird. I finally realize that the dog can't block us both. When my friend, let's call him Jason, I just realized I didn't name him yet, goes to get his dog, whose name is Bear, I dart forward as well. The dog can't stop us both. Grabs Jason by the sleeve and pulls him forcibly into the brush. I turn back, make sure he's okay. "Shit, dude, you okay?" "All's well, dog won't let me up though." Spend some time trying to calm down Bear. Finally, dumbass dog lets Jason up. We keep walking for a while. Weird sounds, the typical forest at night shit still. Dog gets all weird again. Literal repeat of before. Will try and stop us individually, but when we both go to get by at the same time, he grabs Jason over me. Turn back again. It's the same shit. Calm down, dog. Keep walking some more. The whole time, we've been making up more and more fucked up shit about the man. He spooks all of wildlife. He tracks his prey, sometimes for days. He likes his flesh raw and tender, implying young because it's scarier as we're kids. The track we're on loops for a long way around the woods, going through some places that we've never been before, even in daylight. Start telling stories that we've heard of, about the lone cabin that's out here. No one's ever seen someone go in or out, but there's often lights on. This part is actually true, but for the sake of the story, I won't explain. Dog's been acting more and more strangely, usually very loud, inquisitive, and playful, even when we go out at night. It used to do similar things quite often when staying at his place, or vice versa, but we've never gone this far into the woods. Eventually, dog acts up again, and this time, much, much worse than before. Sounds like he's crying. Nosing us the opposite way. Try and get past. Literally bowling us over every time one of us tried to get by. Same strategy as before. Wait until Jason's ready and run. Dog knows what's happening this time. He's already running at Jason. Grabs him and yanks him down. He goes for me. I manage to trip on a root at just the right moment and flail my way by. Runs back to Jason and actually starts dragging him back down the path. Oh well, he'll calm the dog down and catch up on his own. Been walking for a while, maybe more 5 minutes, but definitely less than 10. Gone around a few bends. I can't see Jason or his light. The trail forks. Decide to wait for Jason, don't want to get split up. Sit down under a large tree. Have a great idea. I'll turn out my light and wait for him and make him shit his pants. He'll have to walk all the way back home like a little pussy. Go behind tree after turning light out. Hear a rushing, rustling noise. Huh, guess there's another dog or something. Better climb the tree in case of coyotes. Hear yipping nearly as soon as my hands are on the bark. Yank myself up as fast as possible. Climb into the center of the tree, hidden by foliage. Rustling gets louder. An adult is running down the path from the other direction as fast as he can. Long-ass hair flying behind him. Oh man, he's really fucking running. Better be careful, there's a lot of roots around. He trips. Hear a crack. Fuck, he broke his leg, or probably just sprained an ankle. Starts crawling, then gets up, still moving as fast as possible. Hear sobbing coming from the man. I move to get down the tree to try and help. Hears me in the tree, head whips around, whispers so I can just hear part of what he said. Up there, kid. There's... out there. Oh, fuck, what? Probably talking about the coyotes. Maybe there's a lot of them tonight. Go to ask if he needs help. Immediately shushes me, tells me to shut up and get further into the tree. Do so because adult said to. It's middle of the night. He lets out a long sigh. Guess you found me then. There's another fucking guy on the path. Must have just gotten here. Walking slowly. Can't really see him. It's too dark. They both were coming down the same fork. Second guy says something, but I don't understand at all. Nothing like any language that I'd heard up to that point in my life. First guy starts trying to hobble away. Second guy laughs, walks at the same pace after him. Suddenly, first guy starts running faster than before. Second guy says something, sounds really fucking weird, and crouches down. Starts sort of half jogging, half running after the first guy. Sort of like a woodsman's lope, if you know what that is, but it's faster. They turn the bends. I can hear the first guy snapping branches and crunching leaves and dirt. Wait, the first guy? What about the second, the one who was talking all weird? Look down. Fuck no, he's right beneath me, looking up at me. Says something in that weird language again. Oh god. Oh god, the guy we made up was real, what the fuck? He just stares up at me and smiles. The creepiest fucking smile I've ever seen. The guy smiles like a goddamn shark. All teeth, all hunger. I am going to die. I accept it. I make my peace, and I hope that Jason's okay. Crying, snot running down my face. But I've accepted that I'm going to die. Guy just sits down at the fork in the road. Says something that actually sounded like English. But I was too busy sobbing to understand. What, mister? Try to contain my tears of impending death to hear the man. The last words I might actually hear. But I missed the first part anyway. The guy's voice was like a rusty razor. All rough and raw. But it was still sharp somehow, so it was hard to understand. Down here, youngling. Not hunting for babes. Tonight. Chuckles like a sandslide. Pats the ground beside him. No way, I've seen enough movies. I've read enough fairy tales. He's gonna kill me anyway. He gets mad. Get down here, or you'll be caught and eaten. Well, fuck, okay. I guess if he's going to kill me either way, may as well not make him mad. Climb down. He's still at the fork across from my tree. Pats the dirt beside him. Obviously wants me to sit there. Come, young one. I swear on my own name I shall not harm you. I've read enough fantasy books for this. Fucking evil magic monster. I know how to deal with that. What is your name? I managed to stutter. Says something like, Negoch. Repeated after him. Yes, young thing. You swear? By my own name, I do. Say it all. By my name, Negoch, I swear no harm shall come to thee, child. That's 3 times you swore. Guy smiles again. That creepy fucking smile. Clever enough, it seems. Ask him who he is. I never promised you answers. Only that I wouldn't hurt you. His speech seems to be getting better and better each sentence. Maybe this monster is one of those misunderstood ones. As I think this, he adjusts the coat that he was wearing. I notice the coat is made of some sort of weird fur, and it's old, a bit dirty. The shirt underneath is like nothing I've ever seen. Almost looked like one of those doormats, or a boot mat, but all fabric, not rubber. Has all kinds of things hanging from a belt around his chest. Hard to see, but my mind immediately populated with bones, feathers, and a very weird-looking knife. He notices me staring and asks, "What is it, young one?" He's been pretty polite, and I did get him to swear 3 times, so I'm getting a bit braver.
"Your knife, well, I couldn't see it so well."
I trail off, not sure where I was going.
"Ah, yes, the knife. Would you like to see it? Hold it, even." "Okay, if nothing weird's gonna happen."
His eyes squint shut. I can tell he's a bit annoyed.
"I swore no harm, child." "Sorry." "No matter. It is good that you are suspicious."
Pulls the knife from his belt. The thing is made of fucking stone. Whole goddamn thing is one big block of stone. He smiles as he hands it over to me. Thing weighs a ton. Holy fuck.
"Would you like that, child? The knife?"
You do not accept gifts from the Fae. You do not accept gifts from spirits. You do not accept gifts from anything you don't understand, ever.
No, sir. I wouldn't want to take something I wouldn't be able to treat properly."
I'll stop actually typing in my starters, but trust me, at this point, it was taking me a good 30 to 40 seconds to get a sentence out. He smiles that fucked up smile again.
"Again, proof you are a clever one. Take not gifts from those you don't understand."
Right, but now I remember, it's also a great insult, and a lot of stories.
"Well, I couldn't take it without offering you something in return as well. We'd be at an uneven trade then." "Ah, but you have nothing I want. That you can afford to give, do you?"
Probably not, but no one is gonna fucking believe me if I don't come out with something.
"Well, maybe we could trade for something smaller then. I have this and a fable."
This being the flashlight.
"I don't need your false light, but a story is always a great thing. I will trade you a trinket for your tales, but be quick, for I must leave soon." "Okay, that sounds good to me. My story is about these woods."
Go on to tell him most of the made-up story that Jason and I invented. He chuckles at the end, asks me how I know all of this.
"Well, I made it up." "You tell a strong story, boy. You have earned your trinket."
Pulls a bead from his shirt, presses it to my hand. His hands are cold. Cold like the ground, or the rock he was leaning on. But the bead is colder. Kind of large, but can't see its color in the dark.
"I must go now, but you have won this, and my respect for a storyteller. You will not be harmed in these woods."
He leans in close. What is that smell? It smells like cooking and laundry, and those jars of stuff in the pantry. It's nice. Suddenly, it's bright. Really, really bright. It's middle of the day bright. I must have fallen asleep waiting for Jason. I must have dreamed it all, right? Especially when I can't find the bead. I walk back to Jason's. He sees me from the kitchen, runs outside and hugs me, crying frantically.
"I thought you were dead. I thought the man got you. I saw you and him in the forest, but Bear wouldn't let me by. He dragged me all the way home."
What? That's the ending? I know, that's what I'm saying. I really need to proofread my stories before I choose them. Oh, well. Yeah, that was story number 1. That was, I guess, something. It started off with a lot of potential, and then, I don't know, too much dialogue for me to consider it real. It seems like a fabrication. But people wouldn't do that. People wouldn't do that on the internet. People don't just go and lie on the internet. No one does that. The collective name for a group of unicorns is called a blessing. A collective or a group of unicorns covered in a cloak is a blessing in disguise. Ha 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 ha. Funny jokes. Subscribe for more. Sorry. You're underappreciated? Yeah, well, you're fucking gorgeous. Deja vu is actually believed to be small absent seizures, namely a common harmless form of epilepsy everyone experiences. See, that's even more terrifying. Yeah, that you're just telling me that like every single time I'm like, whoa, that was weird. I'm just like the tiniest little bit just having an epileptic attack. That's not very pog champ of my brain to do that, dude.